Hi guys, how are you? Type A here, a lot of bits, and I think this is going to be my first official tutorial for Reaper. And as you guys may know, I make tutorials for Renoise, and I'm not going to stop in doing it. Renoise and Reaper are both my favorite DAWs that I ever worked with, and Renoise is really awesome. But now I have Reaper, and now I can bring to my workflow some of the things that I like about FL Studio, for instance, like audio clips and being able to resample stuff from one channel to the other in real time, basically by setting up an audio channel to record or what I'm doing, and also being able to freeze tracks, dump audio really fast. It's just really nice. And also Reaper, the same as Renoise, is really stable. There's a lot you can do with a regular computer, and the program is really stable. I can run like 10 instances of Serum and the software is like no crash and nothing like that. And also Reaper is really customizable, and it has a lot of advanced features that I think I'm going to cover up some point. But for now, this is basically a sound design tutorial, and now I'm going to introduce Harmor in my workflow. I've been using Reactor and Serum for the past couple of months, and now I have Harmor, and I want to start making sounds for it, since it's my favorite synthesizer along with Reactor. And I like Serum. I like to make synth sounds and leads and stuff like that, but for bass, sound design, and other types of sound that are similar in processing, I don't like the workflow, since most of the originality comes with making your own wavetables, and wavetables are really time consuming, and I don't like to use other people's wavetables. I rather prefer to use Harmor, which is an additive engine, quite complex, and there's a lot of things that you can do with Harmor. So for instance, this first sounds, I want to show you guys a simple resound, narrow resound that you can make with Harmor. That this is going to take you to tweaks, and you're going to end up with a really processed sound that you can use almost instantly in a song. Okay, so to make this sound, just load up a new instance of Harmor, default preset. Let me turn this knob off, velocity knob off, and turn down the volume a bit. Now I want to pitch down this to make in the bass range. And right now in this instance we have there's only one voice, the sub voice coming from this oscillator over here. Notice that you can switch this to a saw to a square wave, and you can kind of morph between two shapes right here. And in order to bring up more voices, I'm not going to use Part B, but because we're in Harmor and this is an additive engine, each time you duplicate the unison control, you're adding new voices. Each voice has its own set of harmonics, partials, whatever you want to call them. So for instance, I want to use two voices. You clearly can hear the beating going on in the back. So I want to pan this to 0. Also set the phase to 0 so they trigger at the same time. And this controls the pitch variation between the two voices. So no variation, like full variation. So a place right here, it can be a good place to start. Sorry, two voices. There are different modes for the unison, and I'm going to use classic for this one. But you can change it. I encourage you to read the manual. Harmor manual is really explanative about all the different features of the synthesizer, but for now let's keep that in classic. And now if we come here to this advanced tab and we look for harmonic unison pitch, it will display this graph editor that you can twist. It's basically set to default right now. It's the what you're seeing is the individual pitch variation per the octave of the keyboard. So this will be like the low part of the keyboard, middle part, and the high part. So one thing that people tend to do when making resounds is to make really big chains of processing. So if you want to distort or to have the variation in the middle frequencies, you need to create a different chain, IQ that, so it only is passing the low frequencies and the mid ones are separate. But in Harmor, because we have this, if we just want to add the pitch variation to the pitch variation to the middle frequencies, we can basically turn these two ones down and it's already sounding different. And if we want to make it only in the middle frequency range, it will be like this. And you know, it's basically adding a new profile to the pitch variation, so you can see how the sound is changing. And if you move this around, and now if you want to bring this up, we can basically add distortion. Let's start with soft saturation by cranking the shit up the amount. You can kind of hear the effect. Let's compress this. It already sounds really nice, but another thing that I like to do is in neuro-based processing, a lot of people use chorus effect to kind of like mess around with the pitch variation, and I can place a chorus here. If I go to the advanced tab to go before the distortion, so it's kind of sounds more cranky and more like more stereo feel into it. You feel when I press the first note, it's like ripping apart. Another cool trick. Right now we can use this in a song easily. Just basically add some EQ in and write a melody bass line. So let's start by 140, and let me come in before recording and measure. Okay, so so right now we have this baseline, and another thing I like to do in Harmor is kind of like start filtering, because this is like the really the cool stuff about the neural processing is to filter stuff, resample out and throw it again in the unit and resample again. And the phaser in Harmor, unlike any traditional phaser, this one is based on the additive engine, so it's basically cheating. Right now this is a representation of all the individual harmonics, the fundamental and all the partials, and if we start adding phaser, it will traditionally create these holes like any phaser would do, basically creating these notches, like place it evenly in the signal. But if we turn the speed of the phaser into 0, it will be like static notch going in the signal, and we can control where we place this, and also the width of the notches, like by changing the width, you can notice these robotic artifacts. The unit instantly imprints on the sound, like this. And this is one phaser shape. You can change the phaser shape, and you can even draw your own. And there are different modes, and each mode behaves differently. And this is quite complex, and you think you're going to need to read the manual for this. So it will change from an aero bass to some weird robotic monstrous stuff. So yeah, that's it for this tutorial, and comment this stuff if you like it, and if you want to see more Harmor tutorials, please leave your comments and I'll try and do my best. I'm not an expert on Harmor, but I really like it, and a lot of times I know what I'm doing. It's really hard for me to explain that in English, and yeah, but I mean, if you want to really dive deep in this unit, you can go watch on Seamless tutorials, and he made tutorial for FL Studio, but basically the ones that are for Harmor, you just need Harmor. You don't need FL or anything like that. The BST version of it will be like perfect. And okay, so comment this if you like it, and peace out. Type A here.